All good, teacher.
Very nice, very nice. What did you have today for breakfast, for lunch?
Uh, for breakfast, yeah. I prepared eggs. Almost
Oh,
every
very
day
nice.
I ate the same. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And you, teacher?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
normally. Uh, uh-huh.
yeah, I normally fix myself eggs as well, and I make them at the a la mexicana, as they say, right, with
Mm-hmm.
chopped onion and tomato and a little chili pepper. So
Yeah, that's
I
great.
like them like
Yeah,
that.
normally what I do is the half of a cup of white eggs and just one egg,
Right.
and then I mix that and well, you know that white eggs have less fat in comparison with the whole egg, so that's why I mix both, and with the purpose to get as much protein as possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And you quit eating bread or you still eat bread?
bread.
Yeah, do you eat bread and flour or no flour? Harinas, no flours?
Mm,
Or some of
yeah,
them?
well, I try to eat a little bit of everything, but normally I try to avoid much quantities of the food that we know that probably is not better for us. So,
Oh,
but yeah, I eat it, everything.
that's truly nice. I was thinking about the technical aspects of trade. Uh, which are the models of trade theory? When you trade, in the past, they used to be barter, right? I produce a kilogram of broccoli and I traded that with you for a kilogram of fruit or for a kilogram of something, right? You may, why do we want to trade, and do we want to trade what is in excess, or we trade everything? Which do you remember the theories of trade, Mickey?
Of trade,
Trade.
trade in general.
When we trade something, there will be some theories about trade. What is the comparative advantage? Let me share
Mm-hmm.
this with you. See what you think.
Thank you, teacher.
Let's see. Who is this? That's Ronnie. No, Ronnie got lost, right?
No, he's running. No, the kitten that was lost. Uh, it was Kira.
Kira. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
She
he.
never came back, right?
No, she never came back. To be honest, I don't know what happened because I was looking for her for a long, long time. I remember that I post on Instagram, on Facebook, pictures of her on the streets. I went to the different uh, pet shops here in the sun. No, nobody, nobody.
Shit.
I think that at least I was looking for her for at least 1 month every day.
1 month.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
drone and I used the drone to see because well in the back of my house there's a like a harvest zone. So I
Right.
was thinking probably the kitten was there, and I used my drone to fly near from the harvest zone, trying to look something, but no, I never
Right.
found.
You still have the drone?
No, what happened is uh, that I borrowed my drone to a friend, and he crashed the drone.
Ah, you told me. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You lent it to him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lent it to him.
Yeah. Well, those things happen. Let's take a look at the trade theory, Mickey, and let's see what
Yeah.
we think about this first. Can you read the first one, please?
Yeah. Trade theory, comparative advantage. Understanding why countries engage in trade and how they benefit by specializing in goods where they have a lower opportunity cost.
Yeah, the comparative advantage. And for example, in this case, what could you say about? specializing goods where they have a lower opportunity cost.
Here in Mexico,
Yeah, for example, Mexico.
mm, well, probably could be like, uh, well, there are so many things, but for example, corn could be.
Corn, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, probably they can trade corn with other country. I don't know, for example, mm, which country? Um, what is one
This
of the most popular countries that sells coffee here in Latin America?
Brazil, yeah. Let's
Yeah,
talk
for
about
example, with
Brazil, for
Brazil.
example. Yeah, okay. Brazil is a great example. Let's say what they. Okay, here is an example that you probably you were thinking because you mentioned coffee. So let's see
Hmm.
what it says about coffee, Mickey, please.
Yeah, Brazil specializes in producing coffee due to its climate and rich soil, comparative advantage in coffee, while the United States focuses on producing high-tech products like semiconductors. Brazil exports coffee to the US, and the US exports semiconductors to Brazil. Each country benefits by focusing on what it produces more efficiently.
Right. I have a criticism against this model, Mickey, and it is that we don't tend to add value. Normally, you wanted to add value to your products so that you are able to become more value added producer, right? For example, you can sell coffee wholesale, or you can pack it or grind it and pack it, toast it too, right? Why do we want to have this kind of practice? I mean, selling coffee and not add value. Some people produce corn and they sell it. Some people produce wheat, they sell it. They produce barley and they sell it. They don't add value. And many people are like that, selling milk instead of producing yogurt or cheese, instead of producing cheese or cream or yogurt. Why does this happen, Mickey? Have you seen this pattern?
Mm, yeah, if I understand correctly, I think that so many countries just have like mm, I can say like the raw resources,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
export that. But I think that is because those countries probably don't have all the equipment that they require to do all the process and at the end sell the final product.
yeah, exactly, exactly. For example, it happens with oil as well. We sell the oil or petrol to the US, they refine it, and they sell us the gasoline. They add
Same.
value, right?
Yeah.
In a very simple, well, simple apparently. And then
Yeah.
what I notice is that the media criticizes, and this is not political, it's just simply uh, a personal opinion. People criticize if you build a refinery, but then the other country has 150 refineries. I don't know what to think about that. What do you think? So this is gas is
Oil.
oil, then process, refine, right? Process, and then you get gasoline, process, and you get gasoline, you get gasoline, right?
Yeah.
Gasoline, and this is value added, and then you want to do the same, and people say, well, no, you're building a refinery that's going to pollute, and it's not a profit anymore, and this and that. Yeah, it has some political content. It has some political content. I'm not an advocate of the 40. I'm not an advocate, but I am reluctant to the journalists that criticize a program that benefits someone else. For example, the US, how many refineries are there in the US?
Mm, to be honest, I don't know the exact number. Let me search it.
Yes, please. Refineries in the US, please. Refineries in the US. Oh, they have like 150, I think.
132 operated petroleum refineries in the United States.
132. Okay. And how many citizens, please? Citizens. It's like 330 million, 330 million, I think, more or less. Let's see what you find. How many citizens are there in the US?
345 million.
45. Okay. 45. So, how many citizens per refinery? Just make a division, please, right?
Mm-hmm.
Citizens per refinery. Citizens per refinery. I mean, this citizens per refinery equals 345 divided by 132, which must be like almost 2 point something, right? Per million.
Yeah.
2 point what?
2 point 345 divide 345 divide 132 2.6.
2.6 million people per refinery. Let's see
Yeah.
Mexico. How many refineries are in Mexico? Refineries in Mexico. We did this a while ago. I think we have six, I think. Let's see. Let's just check. Maybe they have seven
6.
more. Six. And people, oops, I think it is like 135 million citizens. Well, it should be people because, strictly speaking, a citizen is above 18, right?
Yeah.
What's 135? Or how many
Mm,
people are there in Mexico?
Mexico, uh, between 126 to 103 million.
130.
103
Okay,
million.
that's 130 million. So, people per refinery is 130 divided by 6, right? Which is going to be more than 20.
21.6.
1.6 million. Okay, what can you conclude from these two lines in yellow?
Mm, that if we compare the refineries with in Mexico in comparison with the refineries in the US, uh, more or less people there's like 10 times more people for refinery in Mexico than in the United States.
Yeah, if you go to a restaurant, let's see, you go to a restaurant, Mickey, and you have, let's see, how many waiters per, I mean, how many eaters or diners per, let's change these diners per waiter. What is better service, right?
Hmm.
If you go to a restaurant and you have, let's say, two, three diners for one waiter, is what do you say, good service or excellent service? Three people, and you have
Excellent
one
service.
excellent service, right? So
Yeah.
excellent service, and you have 30 diners and only one waiter. What do you think of the restaurant? Is good, bad, terrible service?
Terrible service.
Terrible service. Well, That's our service in Mexico with gasoline.
Yeah.
We don't have enough, so we need to import gasoline as a result of this. What do you think? What's your? I mean, it's a
Yeah.
complex situation, right?
Mhm. Hmm. Yeah, there were so many. Well, there are so many people criticizing that we need to evolve to the clean energies and all stuff. But to be honest, here in Mexico, we don't have like the uh, how can I say it? Like the technology and the money to support that. And I consider that I don't know at least probably 10 to 15 years. I would say that oil still being the like the main way of consumption in gasoline. I would say in
Right.
comparison with
Yes.
electric cars or hybrid cars. I think that just the 11% of all the cars are hybrid or electric here in Mexico. So if we want to evolve to have clean energies, yeah, it's a how can I say? It's a um,
Lengthy process.
yeah, exactly. It's something that we need to do, but there must be step by step. Not only yeah, we need to do all clean energies when Mexico don't have the infrastructure to cover that.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. But the people who advocate that we shouldn't make more refineries and instead we should, yeah, I mean, the idea of going to clean energies is great. But meanwhile, in the process, we need to do something, right? And what do we do? Continue importing gasoline? Well, that's what we're doing. And
Yeah.
the gasoline is not cheap. That's the problem.
Hmm.
You said, well, we don't need to build new refineries because the gasoline is so cheap. But it's not cheap at all. It's actually getting more and more expensive. Why don't we build a refinery? We have the people to consume it. We have the market. We have the market to buy the gasoline. It's like, why do you make shoes? People will not buy them. Yeah, people will buy shoes because I mean, there's a need of shoes. Well, gasoline,
Hmm.
why don't we build refineries? We have the need. No, 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 because it pollutes. But yeah, it pollutes. But okay, I have a little problem with that. There is another issue in trade, which is very interesting, which is trade barriers. This is a very interesting concept too, Mickey. I wonder if you wish to read it, please, Mickey.
Tariffs, trade barriers example in 2018, the US imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, arguing that the domestic industry needed protection from foreign competitors, especially China. As a result, the price of steel increased for US manufacturers, affecting industries like automotive and construction.
Yeah. What do you think on this decision of setting trade barriers and maybe imposing tariffs? You're going to put a tariff because it is affecting your workers. What's your concept of this, Mickey? Your idea, your comment?
Uh, well, I would say that it's important to protect the the people who works in your country and probably the people who produce the same thing. Uh, if you ask me, I will prefer to give job to my to my people, but of course there must be a balance. If the difference of prices are well, it's a huge difference. Uh, I would say that at the end, that's why it's called free market, right? So it must be fair because when someone establishes tariffs, well, the consequence is that the other country is going to establish tariffs too, and affects probably not this sector that we are talking, but affects other sectors.
Yeah, exactly. Good comment. Let's talk about drones, for example. Some drones for agriculture cost in the US 50,000 US in drones for
Wow.
agriculture. And the same drone or similar one costs US in China. How can this be so much difference? I mean, how can there be such a huge difference in one single product? If you say, well, there is a 10% difference because I'm giving you very good service, I'm spending a little time in promotion, I'm spending this and that. So I'm going to charge you 10, 20% more than the competition. But uh, 400% more is, how do you justify this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, it's because the hand labor in China is cheap, and they have a lot of people who works in that. But obviously, the excessive difference of price between the prices with China and the United States, uh, there's no explanation. They just want to sell you because it's from the United States, and that's why United States, I would say, that criticize so much China because they know that they don't have now competition with them
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of production.
exactly, exactly. The other day, I mean, yesterday, we were talking about the law of patents. Law of patents. Can you please look up, or maybe you know, how was and where was the origin of patents in the world, and why? What is the theory of patents behind it? What is the psychology, or the what is the idea of patents? Yeah, of course, they
Mm,
want to protect the inventor. What else? Why don't Chinese honor this law of patents? They say, well, no, if I can replicate it, I just replicate it, make it better, and charge less and sell more. What is
yeah.
the ethics of this? Because it's been criticized. It's under debate now in our degree, in our school, in our university, in the class,
Hmm.
discussing ethics. Because I say it's good because it protects me, it protects my invention, and it protects my nation, it protects my technology, because I have invested money, invested time, invested the connections that I have with friends. But on the other hand, the argument of them is that, yeah, but we have 1,000 million people to feed, so we cannot afford to buy things 3 or 4 times more expensive than we can make them. So they also have their logic. What do you think? What do we stand in terms of ethics about the law of patents, Mickey?
Yeah, of course. I understand why it was created, the law of patents, because at the end, you want to protect your invention or your creation. But at the end, if you are doing your business, because I know that must be that way, something profitable, I would say that it's important that the final customer have like um, different options to one single product. And at the end, it's better because the people who sells those goods or services, they are competing to attract the final customer. So I would say that it's fair. I don't consider that it's good that only one company is making one product and you can just buy it from that company, because then you create a how say like, well, yeah, a monopoly. So I never think that a monopoly is something good to the market and to the people who buy those products.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, Here we have that some companies, not companies, some countries allow uh, allow you to have some what do you call these generic generic products,
Yeah.
right? Generic products, so that they cost much less than the patented products. What do you think about this idea of generic products, but not only in the pharmaceutical industry, but in general in every type of industry, Mickey? What do you think? Is it correct to extend it to other fields, or just to the pharmaceuticals where life depends on that, maybe?
Yeah. Um, well, me as customer, I would say that it's good that it stands not only on pharmaceuticals, because you know the cost that probably uh, the cost of an iPhone to Apple probably is what, less than $50, and the price that they sell us to us. So I would say that that is necessary that there are competition, because at the end, then the brands or companies wants to attract you to buy their specific product, and you buy, well, at the end you're paying obviously I don't know how many times more than the cost that they cost them to produce the product. Obviously, it's a business. I'm not criticizing that, but I consider that it's fair that there are competition in different products because then you can decide what is better for you according to your possibilities.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. What you say is totally true. There is this idea of ethical solutions. I wonder if you wish to read it, Mickey, please. Programs, ethical solutions.
Programs like compulsory licensing, where governments allow production of generic versions without the patent holder's consent, have been introduced to address these concerns.
Yeah, the concerns of very, very expensive medicines and pharmaceuticals that are
Yeah.
difficult to get. What's
Mhm.
your comment about this, Mickey?
I would say that it's okay. And normally when I think about this, it's like yeah, in the pharmaceutical sector or the pharmaceutical field because there are medicines that are so expensive and and not all people can afford that. So I would say that it's fair.
All right. What other programs can we use to extend this idea besides pharmaceuticals for medicine? Pharmaceuticals for, for health, actually, it's for your health, for our health. What
Mhm.
other fields of life uh, can we say that are morally acceptable to use generic products?
Mm, well, in the past, probably will be like something. Um, how can I say it? Probably not something like necessary, but I would say that in technology now it is important. If you are not in Facebook or you don't have WhatsApp, you don't have a cell phone, it is so difficult to stay like uh, in backward, or how can I say it? Like,
Right.
yeah, be present, in tech, in job, in communication in general. So I would say that technology.
Mm, oops. Okay. So on cell phones and other technological products.
Yeah,
mm, what about books, for example? Some
books.
books, yeah, in university level, for instance, some of the books are very expensive. In particular, when you go to college or graduate school, some of the books
Hmm.
are very expensive. Is that something that affects people massively, or maybe not? Food, some packaged foods, clothing, transportation.
Yeah.
Is there anything? What do you think? Maybe public transportation.
Hmm.
Transportation.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily public because public is obviously for the population, but for transportation in general, I don't know if they are protected. What other products, services should we, for example, legal advisory or legal counseling? What do you think of this, Mickey?
It is so necessary. Yeah, I know that there are people who don't have the support of the government or of this legal counseling, and at the end, they lost what they have because they don't have probably the knowledge and someone who is supporting them. So yeah.
Right. Okay. There are other three examples about patents, for example, the ones that refer to biotechnology. And they look very, very interesting, at least to me. I think they are very interesting. This is the ethical concern of GMOs. And there's been lots of examples about this. And some people still think that they have ethical concerns. What do you think about this one here, which says ethical concern? Please.
Ethical concern. The patenting of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, human genes, or other life forms raises ethical questions about whether life itself should be subject to ownership.
What do you think about this? We've talked about this a number of times. But what do you think now?
Mhm. Uh, I don't know. I would say that it's more complex because we're talking about the human genes and um, yeah, but we know that the pharmaceuticals are the wealthiest companies, so I would say that it's important that uh, other companies could probably reply, you know, the model that they have. So mm,
Okay.
I don't know. It's something that I need
So,
to analyze.
okay, needs to be needs analysis. All right. Let's see another example here, please. This example of the case of neurogenetics, and this is under discussion currently.
Mm.
So
The case
let's
of
say this.
merit genetics and the patenting of BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes linked to breast cancer create a significant ethical dilemma. The company's patents on these human genes restricted research and testing, limiting access to potentially life-saving genetic tests.
In other words, you cannot do research on these ones because of the patent. You cannot even make research on a problem because it has a patent. I don't know if this is ethically correct, right? It's like if you, I'm trying to, or somebody's trying to find a cure for leukemia, and I make a
Mhm.
patent for the processes to research, and you cannot even research or try to solve the problem because there is a patent. I don't know if I like the idea of patents anymore. Because, yeah, they protect one person, but they cause harm to millions, potentially.
Yeah, yeah, it is true. Uh, I wasn't thinking like in this part, but yeah, it is true. I would say that it's important that for other companies, not only the one who creates the patent, they can offer the same or at least a similar product or service because, as we mentioned at the end, I think that everything summarizes in money. Not all people can afford those services. Not all people can afford that medicine, for example. So I would say that it's important uh, that yeah, that there must be like more accessibility to those patents because not all people uh, can receive those services. Looking at like in the ethical way.
Yeah, well, now that you mention ethics, um, how do you define ethics and what has been the evolution of ethics? I mean, it's a very old concept of good and bad, right? But why something is good for us and is bad for someone else in another part of the country or the world, and something is bad for us and is good for them? I mean, when can we reach an agreement? Because there is a huge variation what is good and bad for some people, right? So how can we come to terms with other people who think differently for us, from us? So I know it's a complex concept, very old, but how has the evolution of this concept been? In other words, some people think of ethics as good with an evolution. What has been the evolution? I mean, how does ethics vary among the centuries? Because that decides what people are going to do. The organization is going to say, we approve this, we deny that. So it
Yeah,
looks like it's an important concept, right? For organizations
yeah,
as
it is.
well.
Yeah, it is. Uh, mm, well, of course, we know that for once, for one group of people, could be something good, and for others, could be something bad because um, each group have like their own human values, needs, and perspectives too about a specific thing.
Right.
And I would say that the only way that we can find like an agreement is it's something that nowadays is so difficult and is communication. Try to trying to look up like compromise, empathy for both parts. We understand that at the end it's a business, but uh, in the actuality now, I think that it's more important to focus on the ethics because, well, I don't know, probably it's like my way of thinking, but we don't have this life forever. So if we can give or left something like legacy and help more people that is after us, I will do it. But I think that it's a compromise with people, government, companies, and that it's something difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is actually not something easy. It's a complex concept, really complex, with many scholars on both sides of the coin. Don't think that everyone abides for one lens, but sometimes they go for the other, right? And there is a huge debate about this. Let me show you a table that I generated. Well, I didn't generate it. My friend, the Silicon friend, generated this tool. Let me share it with you and see what you think. Here it is. So we have some ideas about ethics and also obviously the period and the impact on patent law and ethics. Let's see what you think. I don't think this, I believe it is very interesting. So we have the period, the key ethical perspectives, and the historical context and impact on patent law and ethics. Let's see just the first one and the last ones. If you can please read the first one, and then we go jump to the last one.
Yeah, ancient times. Craft secrecy and guilds, invention seen as individual mastery, no formal IP protection, knowledge passed orally, historical context, early civilizations to the Middle Ages, craft guilds in medieval Europe, impact on patent law and ethics, inventions and trade secrets were protected throughout secrecy within guilds, but no formal recognition or public sharing of inventions.
So if you were a master of making bread or making weapons, making forging steel or something, you pass that to your next generation through a secret. That was a family secret. That's how you
Yeah,
protected your invention, right?
yeah.
Let's see one more before we move to the last one. The early patent system, please.
The early patent system, rewarding inventors for public good, Venice, 1474, first modern patent law. Patents introduced to encourage innovation by granting exclusive rights for limited periods in exchange for public disclosure.
Right. In other words, it was in Italy. It was not Italy. It was Rome at that time that protected your inventions. And if you were a baker and you had a formula to make bread, well, that was your bread, right? That was your cheese. That was something that your wine, and it was protected. It was more or less back then when it started the denomination of origin as well.
Yeah.
But then things evolved, and now we went right to the 19th century, 18th, 17th, 19th century. What do you see of these three last centuries before the 20th, 17, 18, and 19, Mickey? What do you notice?
Well, they're looking for, well, they were looking for like to establish a balance, between the individual rights and public welfare. Obviously, it was something that requires a lot of time. If we can see our 3 centuries here, but yeah, uh, mhm, it was a process. More in the 18th and the 19th century. In the 17th century, it looks like still protection in the innovations and yeah and inventions.
Yeah, it was more basically based on moral claim, right? You
Yeah.
protected through its morality.
Hmm.
And then in the next one, the 18th century, with the Industrial Revolution, supposedly you also benefit society. And in 19th century, you don't hinder, you don't limit public access. In other words, you create your patent and you still have society accessible to that. And let's take a look at the 20th century, Mickey, please.
Yeah. Early 20th century, public health and access. Growing concern over monopolies and accessibility, especially in medicine. Global industrialization, rise of monopolies, early pharmaceutical industry. Concerns about patent abuse and monopoly power led to calls for charter patents and limits on monopolistic practices.
Yeah, do you remember that some of the patents, if you go to INPI to protect your processes, to protect your creations, they used to be 15-year protection, and now came down to 10, and I believe some of them are only 5-year protection. What do you think of that?
Mm, well, I think that it's the same. Yeah, there are like two sides of the coin. So probably for the one that is the inventor is like something bad, but at the end, I think that it's enough time to make it as much as profitable possible. So if you can take advantage
Right,
to that time, do it, and then I consider that it's fair that other people who will have access to that.
right. Well, we just thank you, Mickey. We just read about the genes if they should be patented, and let's see about early 21st century and first century globalization and biopiracy. What? Let's take a look at the early 21st century. Mickey, please, and what you think of this?
Yeah, globalization and biopiracy, addressing the ethical impact of patenting traditional knowledge and resources. Rise of global trade, expansion of IP laws in developing countries. Issues of biopiracy emerged with calls for fair compensation to indigenous communities for the use of their traditional knowledge.
Yeah, in other words, the communities, the indigenous communities, originally had traditional knowledge that they were passing over and over and over from generation to generation, like making chocolate. Who has the industry? Who originated the industry of making chocolate? Well, it was created here in Mexico. All right. And who compensates them? Who gives them any compensation? Everyone says, this is my chocolate, and now chocolate is international, right?
Yeah.
But the cocoa was originated here in Mexico. And who gives the indigenous people any compensation? And they say,
No.
well, that was old. Well, everything was old, everything was history, right? But
Hmm.
who is giving them any compensation, for example? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Nobody.
Yeah. So that there is some concern. There are some concerns about piracy and compensations. And the last one, which is the present. Let's see what it says, Mickey, please.
Yeah. Present. Access and sustainability. Focus on balancing patent rights with public health, environmental sustainability, and digital technology. Climate change, digital economies, COVID-19 pandemic, ethical concerns about patenting green technologies, access to medicine, e.g. COVID-19 vaccines, and digital copyrights.
Yeah, what's your comment about this, Mickey, please?
Yeah, at the end, it's something that we were talking that is like established a balance. Uh, that is an agreement between the government and the companies, and that it's okay because not all people can afford, for example, in the case of medicines, uh, those products, and it's better than probably there are other companies that can offer something similar to less price, and people can afford that. In occasions, not always.
Not always, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. Green technologies. Let's talk a little bit about green technologies. What do you know about green technologies, Mickey? You were talking a little bit a while ago about green technologies. What's your concept of green technologies? How can we enhance the time to adopt them here?
Mm, well, green technologies is something necessary to to all the countries. I know that unfortunately not all the countries have the infrastructure to start applying those green technologies, but there are certain things that we can apply little by little. We understand that it's a process and that it's not only from it's not something that just from one day to other is going to be created. It must be a process. It must
Right.
be a plan. And
Yes.
yeah, I would say that it's necessary that countries start focusing on that and little little by little make that change.
How can we contribute a little bit to these cleaner energies? What can we do individually?
Well,
What do
individually
you think?
probably could be like mm, taking care of the water use that you have in your house. You know, like these little activities that in the long term make change. And if you apply that and other people applies that, I would say that the change will be bigger and bigger.
All right. Um, for example, what products can we make solar or activated or actuated with solar power besides the boiler? Not the boiler. I mean the
Yeah.
watering of the water, the heating of the water. Besides that, what else can we make operate with solar power?
Mm, with solar.
Uh, some vehicles, but that's kind of expensive. But what other devices can we build or develop? Would it be possible maybe a refrigeration system with solar power? That'd be great. Something to generate electricity. What do you think? I think I don't know if I lost you. Oh, you're back. I'm sorry, Mickey. I lost you. I didn't notice. I said,
Yes,
"Where's
sure.
Mickey?"
Sorry. Yeah, I was connected. I think that it was my internet. Yeah, but I'm
Oh,
back. Mm, well, I would say that the most popular product that use solar power could be like the how's it water heaters.
the water
Yeah.
heaters. Yes.
Mm,
Yeah, that
but
is
for
correct. That is
example,
true.
I have seen too like the how it's called like this. Mm, well, solar chargers too,
Solar
like devices
chargers.
for
Yes.
charging smartphones, laptops, all the stuff. I have seen in the gardens like these solar lights.
Solar lights. Yes. They look great. They are charged with the energy of the sun, with the sunlight.
Mhm. Yeah.
What else can there be? That's a
Um,
great idea, actually. Yes.
well,
Yes. What other products do we have that work with
I know
solar
that there are
energy?
some batteries that use the solar energy to charge. Like for example, I remember the calculators that it has
Calculators.
like the
Yes.
little panels there.
Yeah, that is true. Um, chargers, batteries. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is true. Some solar power electric vehicles as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, there are solar power cookers, which I have not seen, and solar power water pumps, which I have not seen either, and solar power desalination systems, which I have not seen. Solar power refrigerators. I was just thinking if there could be something like that. They say there are watches and calculators. Well, so many calculators are now solar calculators. We have seen lots of
Yeah.
those.
Hmm.
Distillers, drones, traffic signals. That's great too. Traffic signs and signals. Solar power fans. Well, it seems to be lots of products now, Mickey, that work with solar power.
Yeah. There
Mhm.
are like uh, clocks too that use solar energy. Clocks.
Mhm. Clocks or watches. Yes, that is true.
Yeah, watches.
Well, that is
Yeah.
fabulous. That could be it. How about wind energy technologies? Is this something that is easy to attain to get or not? because some of those new technologies tend to be expensive. So you say, well, yeah, let's do wind energy. Yeah, but it's not cheap. So what is necessary to have these wind energy technologies?
Uh, well, yeah, it is necessary. Um, I know that it's one of the most popular uh, green energies that exist. That is, I have seen like this. How is called?
Turbines, floating wind
Turbine.
turbines.
Yeah, yeah, wind turbines. Uh, I know that
Never.
some companies use them, but I don't exactly know how they work. I would say that with the movement of the turbines produce energy, but I don't know how they canalize that energy to a different uh, yeah procedures that I need to do.
Well,
I
normally
don't.
they connect the turbine to a generator.
Mhm.
This electric generator is normally has a rotor. That's one of the most important questions, a very important question. How do you channel the energy that is generated with a wind turbine? Well, the wind moves the turbine, the what call these the flaps of the turbine. They move, they rotate, and the rotation of the turbine with the shaft, it moves a rotor, and this rotor is really a generator. And this generator is connected to a power transformer, and then the transformer transmits the energy to other sides of the city or the country. So it's
Mm.
really a very interesting system. Let me see if I find a diagram because that is a very, very important question. It it is not so new. Power generation power plant, generation power plant diagram. Let's see if we find something which is yeah, here's one. Well, okay, here is the call. There's one here. Let me show this
Thank you.
wind generation power plant. Let's see wind generation power plant diagram. Here is okay. This is very good. Excellent diagram. Let me put it here. Here is there. All right. Um, that's your system. So what do you understand from this system, Mickey?
Yeah. Uh, that in this case, the wind produces the movement of the turbines, and that movement, or well, that energy that the turbines produce goes to the system and coupling and the generator. So at the end, the movement of that, uh, well, I'm a little bit uh, concerned about the work of the controller here.
The
What's the function of the controller?
the controller, the function is to make sure that the generation that you're producing is stable
Ah,
and
okay.
it is under the same voltage or same
Yeah,
current.
makes sense.
Actually, you want to maintain a stable voltage. So if the wind becomes too strong, you need to have a way to reduce the speed of the helices here in this turbine, right? You want to reduce the speed with a controller. And if it is very slow, you want to make sure that you accelerate the helices of the mill. This is a mill that is moved with wind, and it is geared to a coupling system, which is normally the turbines. And the turbines move the generator, right? The flaps of the generator. So the generator starts rotating and generating power. So the controller is basically a means to stabilize the voltage of the system, because if there is a voltage fluctuation, then you will have a very intense light, then very dim, very intense light, very dim. It creates a problem. So you want to maintain a stable voltage, Mickey. That's what you want to. Oh, Mickey, I lost you. Oops. Oh, Sorry.
Sorry, teacher, I'm back again. Yeah, I don't know. I think that is my internet, but I don't know why it just turned off and then it's working again. But yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, Mickey, thanks. So you want to maintain a stable voltage in the system because if there is a fluctuation, then that is not good for the system. You need to maintain a stable voltage. If there
Hmm.
is a fluctuation, the power will fluctuate, and that's the main purpose of the controller to maintain everything balanced under the same voltage and preferably under the same current. If you need a variation, it's probably better that you have a variation in current and not in voltage. But you already know that there is a definition of power. Power is power is the voltage multiplied by current, right? So if you increase the voltage, you reduce the current, and vice versa. If you reduce the voltage, you increase the voltage, you reduce the current, or if you reduce the voltage, you increase the current to maintain a stable power. The power must be the same because you cannot invent power out of nothing, right? The power is generated by the wind, and the controller needs that this power is stable. That's what you want. Stable power. You maintain a steady power so that there is not such intensity of light and then very dimming it, and then very intense and dimming it. So maintaining a stable power is what you want. That's what the purpose of the controller, Mickey,
Mm, okay.
basically.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, like to establish the amount of energy, right?
Exactly. Maintain establish a steady, balanced amount of energy. Right. You don't want to have
It's steady.
more or less. Steady. It must
Okay.
be steady. That's the
Wow.
idea. That's it. That's the idea.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to these things here. And then we have electric vehicles and energy storage solutions. Electric vehicles is probably the most trendy topic recently, and I believe it is for the good. Um, who has electric vehicles just yet? Now, who has them?
Electric vehicles.
Besides Tesla, I think.
Uh,
What are the companies?
BYD. BYD.
Companies with electric vehicles.
I think that so many companies have now electric vehicles. As I mentioned, BYD, BMW, mm, Volvo. I think so too.
Well, too. Okay.
Yeah. What else?
Okay.
Uh, Toyota. I think that. Well, I think that there's now a Corolla that is electric too. So yeah, Toyota. Um, MG. MG Motors.
MG is from where?
Well, originally was a British company, but then it was purchased by a Chinese corporative. So now it's part of China.
Oh,
MG.
really?
Yeah.
Incredible. I was there is a company I am looking at now, which is called NIO. NIO. I don't know if you know it. Have you heard of him?
And
Chinese.
NIO.
NIO. Yeah, NIO.
Yeah. This is a Chinese company too.
Chinese company. Yeah,
Mm,
Chinese company.
yeah, I think that I don't know if it's available here in Mexico, but I think that it's one of the companies that if it's not available yet, it's gonna be available in 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I think that it's gonna be uh, part of the cars that sells here in Mexico.
Okay. There is another one which is called Li Auto. Li Auto. Li Auto. I don't know if you know about them. Also
The auto.
Chinese.
Yeah, there are so many Chinese
Yeah,
brands.
I really
The auto.
now. Yeah,
Let me.
even Vietnamese.
The auto. No, I haven't seen
And
the.
Xpeng.
Which one?
Well, it's a
Xpeng. Yeah.
growing number of Chinese companies. You know
Mm-hmm.
him?
Uh, NIO and Xpeng, yes, and Li Auto, I haven't seen yet, but now I'm looking their models, and yeah, look, looks interesting.
Right. Electric vehicles. Do you expect to see a growing trend in the use of these autos, Mickey?
Yeah, I think that it's gonna be something progressive. Uh, I consider that the way how people can use these models is with the price, is in comparison with the price. You know that at probably 4 or 5 years ago, the prices of electric or hybrid cars were
Not
so
so much.
expensive, and now
Yeah,
there are more accessibility and more companies that offer these cars. So yeah, I consider that it's something that it's gonna be gradually, but it's gonna happen.
right. Really, really, really nice. And well, sustainable agriculture technologies. I like this one very much. Maybe because I've been in the field of technology, of agriculture technology. What
Hmm.
can we say about sustainable agriculture technologies, Mickey? What comes to your mind when we say sustainable agriculture technologies? Because now that I'm working for this company, teaching them, giving them English lessons, they have all types of equipment, precision agriculture. They have drones to irrigate, to determine if there are plagues or not in the crops. They are really good company. This is Laser and GPS. They are not far from your home and very good people. And agroforestry, conservation tillage, precision agriculture, land leveling systems. They level the system to save water.
Hmm.
And some of these equipments are operated with the sunlight. What do you think of them?
Yeah, I consider that it's important. We know that, for example, the water usage that use the agriculture field. Yeah, well, if we see these diagrams, we can see that a big amount of the water usage goes for the agriculture field. I know that some there are a lot of technology involved now in the agriculture field, related, as you mentioned, drones. I think that there's like sensors too, right? Um,
Sensors, yeah, which where we connected with a GPS so that you make
mhm.
straight lines with the tractors.
Yeah. Well, the irrigation systems, uh, the biotechnology involved in the seeds and in the plants. So, so yeah, it is so interesting. To be honest, I'm not pretty informed about it. I just know probably the basics, but but yeah, it is a topic that is so interesting.
Yeah. It'd be great if one day we can come and visit this GPS company that has a manufacturer, not manufactures, but brings drones, imports drones, and sells
Mhm.
them all over the country. They are great people. And if you can come and visit one day, it'd be great possibility, Mickey, if you have the
Yes, sure.
opportunity.
Yeah, when you tell me, of course.
Okay. Okay. I'll tell them you're normally busy on Saturdays, right? Saturday morning from 8 to
Yeah, because
10.
I have my master's degree, but
Yeah, that's true. So it'd be
in
better
the
maybe on
afternoons
Friday.
normally, yeah, Friday will be better.
Let's say
Yeah,
like
will be great, sure.
maybe, let's see. I'll ask him, and maybe not today, but maybe a week from today, I can invite you. I tell him if we can have you there, like to talk about different topics. And they're great
Yes, will
people.
be fantastic.
They're great people. All right, so let me
Will
talk
be
to them
fantastic,
today,
sure.
and I'll see if we can invite you as a guest, or maybe next week, Mickey.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect, teacher. Yeah, I like the idea.
All right. Well. All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend, Mickey. See you next week. Take care and say hello to the family, please.
You too, teacher. Thank you very much for your time. Take care and enjoy your weekend too.
Okay. See you, Mickey. Bye now.
Take care, teacher.